Greetings, everyone. This is Rock and Roll Spot Connection with the Weekly Comic Book Roundup. Yes, we're a few days late. I was there was some stuff I was doing, but there was something I was doing, but none of it was anything bad. Part of it was getting to see someone I care a great deal about the other day on Wednesday, and just being busy with other stuff and taking a break yesterday after working my normal job. But anyway, on this week's roundup. Kicking things off, we've got Excalibur number 21, which is part of the Hellfire Gala. So, what happens in Excalibur number 21? Various things occur during the gala. Excalibur goes, Richter's not looking forward to going. Even as Jubilee's date. But they arrive, Richter's not too happy about going because Apocalypse can't be there. Shortly after arriving, however, a new arrival on Krakoa finds Richter, and he and Shatterstar are reunited. However, Richter's actually not too happy to see Shatterstar. And it's suggested that Shatterstar get a drink someplace other than near Richter by Captain Britain. Later on in the night, Rogue is named to the new X-Men team. Gambit is totally fine not being part of the team, but they discuss the fact that while Rogue will always be welcome to stay at the lighthouse, Remy will be staying there, and they'll have both a place on Krakoa and a place in the lighthouse. A big deal is made about Captain Britain's first public appearance since in a while. Also, but Pete Wisdom catches up what's going on. Apparently, some of the anti-mutant types in England have attained power and portrayed the disappearance of Captain Britain as an abandonment of Captain Britain. And they mean to dissolve their partnership with Krakoa. It's also in the appearance. Captain Avalon pops up as well, as heavily implied that Megan is pregnant again. Also, we get a classic Excalibur reunion between Nightcrawler and Megan. Rachel and Betsy have a brief dance. In part because no one has asked Betsy to dance that night who hasn't tried to apply her for information. So Rachel has to be the first. And but there's also an apology issued from Rachel to Betsy about the whole malice thing. Basically, kind of made a point of saying, hey, don't pry into Betsy's head, because sure Betsy wouldn't like it. And yeah, there's also a write-up about Kabanakaba, and later, after the gala, they get together and try in an effort to free Morgan Le Fay from her imprisonment in Avalon, by sacrificing Pete Wisdom. But it manages to do the trick. She's freed, and she escapes. At the lighthouse, afterwards, Richter, having found out what's going on, and one thing that Kabanakaba has stated they intend to do is reclaim the Braddock Lighthouse. So, the Druids living on the island basically acknowledge Richter as their king. And they separate the island, or the lighthouse, from the mainland, making an island out of it. And at the end of the issue, Richter comes back by, and they have a drink. Part of it being, and part of it also being, Richter wanting to show Shatterstar the beach he just made. And so Braddock Isle has been formed. And that is where the issue ends. Not bad. Nice little. I do appreciate that we're getting some that the Hellfire Gala issues are continuing on the continuing arcs from their respective titles, but also working in the events of the Hellfire Gala. I was kind of afraid that each issue of the Gala was going to be like, it was going to be kind of like, you read them in their reading order, and you get what happens in order. Instead, you're getting bits and pieces from throughout the night, which is very nice and well done. And yeah, this has probably been my favorite issue of Excalibur so far, and I'm kind of hoping that we'll be seeing more Shatterstar in the book. Either an X Factor or Excalibur, either one, I'm fine with. I'm a long-time Shatterstar fan. I'm probably one of like 5 people who will openly admit that. That isn't, at least, no, that's not a show. But yeah, anyway, moving on to our next book. We've got X-Men number 21, which is actually the final issue of the series. Until the new, we're getting a new X-Men number 1 next month, but yeah. Also, again, Hellfire Gala. Eric and Charles approach Namor and hint at offering him a seat on one of the open seats on the Quiet Council, as there are currently 2 open seats. However, Namor's like, yeah, I'm not part of a ruling council. I'm a king. That's how that is. Adding, he controls 30% of the world. Eric and Charles control what? An island? And he tells them to get back to him when they have something more to offer. And until that day, his interests will remain divided. Then we get the naming of the new X-Men. The new team, by the way. Rogue, Sunfire, Wolverine, Sync, and Polaris. Polaris being the winner of the Pick an X-Men fan poll. Personally, I was hoping for Tempo, but oh well. We get some fun. Remy kisses Rogue on the cheek after she's announced. Sunfire's sulking in the back somewhere. Wolverine, and to be clear, not Logan, Laura. But Wolverine is enjoying shrimp skewered on her one of her claws. Some of the members of Generation X are congratulatory to Sync. The members of X Factor are, of course, happy for Polaris. And we get our first shot of the new team together. In their Hellfire Gala finery, as opposed to their super suits. We've also got a Red Diamond bit, which we will get back to. But fun point about this issue is that a lot of the crowd shots made a point to include some of the some celebrities who were also invited, including George R. R. Martin. I believe Patton Oswalt is there as well. Then turns out, and Emma meets with a group from the group and tells them what she wants of them. though she's told she has no idea what she's actually didn't come to what she's asking for. She says she has a pretty good idea. Later, Cyclops has a meeting with interesting looking, rather plain looking gentleman, suit, no tie, and a ball cap, who asks him what his story is. Which gives us more crowd shots, including seeing some of the others present as well. But yeah, the man speaking with asking Cyclops what his story is. It's Kevin Feige of Marvel Studios. But then we get the fireworks once again. And hints that well, the evening is ending is also the beginning of a new age, and we see two figures crouching on interstellar rocks orbiting a sun. That is where the issue ends. This was a great issue. I love the Kevin Feige bit is so great, with Cyclops basically kind of telling Kevin Feige, the guy who's responsible for Marvel Studios actually being as good at having a concerted vision. What his story is, it's cool. It's really cool. Yeah, nice little nod to the movies without being too overt. Anyway, moving on to our next one, we got Children of the Atom number 4. Where we left off, the Children of the Atom had actually kind of alienated a friend of theirs because whatever was done to cure him of his sickness included, not mutant drugs, but rather, among other forms of DNA, mutant DNA. And so it's implied that it's thought that they were simply going to see him because they're mutant stance. So, as per usual, the issue focuses on a specific member of the team. It's told from the perspective of a certain member of the team. In this case, Marvel guy, JJ, or I'm not sure, no, not JJ. But we get some background on what's been going on between them. We get background on yet another member. But yeah, their friend Cole Carmen goes to speak to Cole because she wasn't actually present for for the dinner, but she also wasn't told what happened. Fight nearly breaks out, and Gabriel, Marvel guy, gets in Cole's face and is like, "Hey, you're misrepresenting what happened. She wasn't even there. Chill out." But turns out that around the time they were testing out some of their stuff, some of their gear, they found basically emotionally gases that manipulated emotions, and one of them got let off in Carmen's face by Marvel guy, which led to her kissing him. But it's seeming more and more that their powers are more tech and gadget based. But Gabriel's from a broken home. When he was young, his father left, and with ink not even being dry on the divorce, got a new family. But and he plays drums, big Wolverine fan. So I mean, hey, kids got taste. But Carmen goes to talk to Gabriel about what happened at the end of the last issue. The weird change that occurred briefly. But before she can really talk about what's going on, the rest of the team shows up. They explain that they've got a they're gonna try and sneak into the gala, and the plan is kind of shot down. It's not, the gates are probably just being kind of recoded to allow certain people, certain non-mutants through, not any non-mutants. But they figure that they can use they got one of Cole's shirts, so maybe they can use some basically some of the various the various things that we leave behind when we take off a shirt to fool the gates. Everyone kind of this is going a little too far, and so, but the night of the gala, they go to the gates. They go to the Coney Island gate. And they're about to head through when they're attacked by the U-Men. Daycrawler's the only one who manages to escape. While the rest are being held prisoner. And I'm not sure if it's if it's kind of a fantasy or what, but seemingly the team of X-Men, consisting of Marvel Girl, Cyclops, Wolverine, Magma, Maggot, Storm, Nightcrawler, and Pixie, show up to rescue the kids. But we don't actually see any rescue being done. But yeah, for those unaware, the U-Men were, if I remember correctly, they were introduced back during the Morrison run. May have been actually previous to that. I could very much be wrong, but they're a group that they track down and kill mutants and harvest them for any useful bits and pieces to graft onto the U-Men to give them additional abilities. That is where the issue ends. Turning out well. I'm not entirely trusting that last splash page to be accurate, so much as maybe what Gabriel's hoping will happen, but we'll see what happens next month. Next up, we've got SpiderMan Shadow number 3. Where we left off, Spider-Man, under the thrall of the black costume, has been dealing out a rather brutal form of justice to his various enemies, not leaving that many of them alive. And 6 of them, 5 of them have come together under with the financial backing of J. Jonah Jameson to bring down Spider-Man once and for all. However, one of those 5, Dr. Octopus, was killed by apparently one of his henchmen, a man named Eddie Brock. So Jonah meets up with the villains, including Brock as Doc Ock, well, Brock Ock as he calls him later, and Jameson recognizes him immediately. And we get the early 90s, this is early 90s Brock. Spider-Man ruined my life, I want to kill him. So, to be fair though, the other 4 members of this group of villains don't really seem to care that it's not Otto, but rather someone else with the arms, so. And Mr. Fantastic's trying to find Spider-Man, but with no luck. Human Torch is crisscrossing the city, but he's afraid that at this point they're just waiting for Spider-Man's next victim, who is announced to be the Beetle. Poor Abe. But Jameson and Brock have a bit of a talk with Jameson making a point I made about the Venom movie from day one. Basically, Eddie Brock blames others for his own mistakes. But yeah, Spidey shows up, takes on the villains, even with all the stuff they do, with all their tech to disorient him. He gets the drop on him. Uses the symbiote's tendrils to kill Mysterio. Kills Rhino. Takes down Spider Slayer. However, the building catches fire, and well, Spidey's in there as it's burning, revealing himself to Jonah. Jameson pulls Peter out, not the symbiote. Declares, it's done. But Jonah takes Peter back into the city, but Peter's afraid that Peter doesn't think the symbiote's dead, and there's some residue left on the back of Jameson's van. They get back to Peter's place where MJ and Felicia are waiting and arguing, but yeah. He turns out Fisk had a plan in the event, had a contingency plan in the event of his death. Spider-Man's identity goes public, and the cops show up. Back at the Baxter building, the samples of the symbiote have gotten loose, overtaking Mr. Fantastic and potentially the Thing. That is where the issue ends. Solid book, and this. I did not expect to see that. I figured there'd be some leftover spider villain that I hadn't even thought about that would end up hitting it. But Reed Richards and Ben Grimm, possibly also Johnny and Sue. That's scary. That's kind of creepy. That is really scary. Moving on to the final book for the video, we've got Star Wars Bounty Hunters number 13. Kicking off the War of the Bounty Hunters tie-in. So where we left off here, Valance and Dengar were going after Boba Fett to get to Han Solo. Though Valance was doing so in the hopes of rescuing Han. So on Nar Shaddaa, we see the differences in approach between Valance and Dengar. Basically, Dengar suggests, "Hey, let's go talk to this guy. We gotta be tactful, though." Yeah, Valance just starts punching people and demanding answers to questions. There's a shootout. And yeah, eventually they run afoul of C-3PO and Chewbacca. And let's just say Chewie's not too happy to see Valance. But he does eventually. Elsewhere, young bounty hunters Taonga and Losha are at the Fortress of the Mourner's Whale in Dotharian, which is deep in Hutt space. And it's a bloodbath. Dead bodies everywhere. Taonga is told she shouldn't have come by an off-panel voice when Valance manages to talk down Chewie, explaining that, Han saved his life. He owes Han his life. And, any way he can help him, he will. That day on Abrogado Ray, he wasn't trying to kill them. But he was until he saw who his target was, and then he betrayed. Then he turned on those who hired him. However, and Chewie, like, okay, all right, but Chewie does also recognize Dengar, who smacked him around a bit. But Valance does manage to save Dengar from Chewie. He needs him alive for now, after all. And him and Chewie, Valance and Chewie make peace, with Chewie basically telling him, "Hey, you want to help Han? Stay out of our way." As 3PO puts it, he said, "If you truly care about Han Solo, you will trust him to save him. There may come a time when he needs your help. Until then, he asks that you stay out of his way, or he will rip out your cybernetic arms and beat you to death with them." Chewie's words, not 3PO's. But back with Tonga and Losha, turns out that the person who found him was a man, something named Lord Camden, who explains that the massacre was at the fortress was committed by the Crimson Dawn. But Valance and Dengar are trying to get information when they're attacked by a sniper, who also works for Crimson Dawn. And that is where the issue ends. That's it for this video. Oh yes, interesting stuff. I appreciated the kind of actually seeing Valance. I was like, hey, look, I'm trying to help Han. Okay, I know you are too. I'm sorry. I never meant to ever try and take a shot at you guys. If I had known it was you who I was being hired to take out, I would have told him to stuff it. But yeah, it's basically the true first part of the story. It's getting pieces it's showing where the pieces are on the board. Like, okay, you've got on Narshada Valance and Dengar, as well as this new sniper. You've also got Losha and Tango in Hut space as well, and having to deal with Crimson Dawn. And you've got Crimson Dawn having to deal with both groups. But anyway, that's it for now. As always, feel free to like, share, and subscribe. Links to my Facebook, Twitter, Patreon, and PayPal in the description box down below. This is Rock and Roll Spock signing off, saying live long and rock hard.